Yay! It's you. And welcome back to The One Behind the Lens, the podcast where we get honest about the messy, magical, behind the scenes parts of running a photography business. I'm Kate DeCoste, photographer, creative cheerleader, and someone who knows exactly what it feels like to hit a creative wall. Which brings me to today's episode, the one with the creative dry spell. The one where you kind of want to throw your camera out the window, but also sleep with it under your pillow just in case some inspiration returns magically overnight. You're not alone. In fact, you're exactly where most creative people find themselves from time to time. Today, we're going to talk about how to move through it and, spoiler alert, one of the best ways, shooting just for you. If you listened to episode 2 with my guest, Susan Gecka, you will know what I'm kind of talking about. And if you haven't listened to that episode, I highly encourage it. She had a lot more ideas, tips, all the things that you definitely want to soak up. Welcome to the One Behind the Lens, the show for photographers building bold, beautiful businesses behind the lens. I'm Kate Biz Bestie and I got one thing to say before we begin. Okay, so here's my favorite strategy for getting through a creative dry spell. Shoot just for you, not for clients, not for Instagram, not for your website portfolio, for you. And if you're craving that you want to photograph an actual person, not just objects or details, you've got options. Think of someone who will happily cooperate. A family member who won't make it weird, or at least, you could just bribe them with, ice cream, pizza later or something. Your neighbor or their kids, a friend who always hypes you up, or even a past client who you just clicked with and you just think that it would be a fun collaboration. The key here, be super clear and upfront. This is just for fun. No pressure, no expectations. I'm trying something new. And make sure you look in the mirror and say all of those things to yourself. And if you are talking to a human being your subject. So maybe you just want to play with dramatic lighting, motion blur, or, even new posing styles. Maybe you're testing out film or a wacky lens that you've been too nervous to use on paying clients. Let's be experimental. Let it be fun. No stakes, no stress. And, don't wait until you feel inspired to create. Sometimes the spark comes after you just start playing. Instead of chasing some magical, inspirational moment, ask yourself, what feels interesting or playful right now? Curiosity leads to creativity. Perfectionism leads to burnout. So whether you're photographing your coffee table, your best friend, or your neighbor's cat, this is your chance to make something without rules. And bonus reminder, your most creative work often comes from the projects no one else ever sees. Now, if you're one that doesn't want to photograph people, like that's not your thing, photograph your breakfast, photograph your laundry, the weird shadows on your kitchen floor, your dog's goofy face mid-yawn. It doesn't need to be good. It doesn't even need to make sense. The goal isn't perfection, it's movement. It's about reconnecting to why you started shooting in the first place. Curiosity, play, joy. No one else has to see what you create here. This is your safe, messy, creative sandbox. Give yourself full permission to make bad art because bad art leads to breakthroughs. Instead of chasing some big, magical, inspirational moment, lean into the curiosity. Ask yourself, what feels interesting to me right now? Maybe you're curious about photographing reflections. Maybe you want to experiment with motion blur or harsh light. Maybe you want to shoot everything in black and white. Let yourself follow those sparks without worrying about the outcome. Let's pause for something that's totally worth pausing for. If you're juggling a million tools to run your business, let me put you on to something better. I've been using PhotoBiz.com for over 10 years for my website, blog, booking mini sessions, even scheduling podcast guests. I can capture emails and send out newsletters all in one place. And honestly, I haven't even scratched the surface on everything PhotoBiz can do. It's easy, professional, and their customer support is a chef's kiss. And guess what? Just for listeners of The One Behind the Lens, you'll get 25% off your first year with the code POD25. That's POD25. Or by hitting the link in the show notes. Welcome to the Photo Confession Booth. This one's a doozy. I call it the one where my light fell in the alley and the mom cried. We were in this really cool cement alley, gritty, urban, super moody vibes for the senior session. And I had my off-camera flash set up, my trusty 8200. And I use it with a little modifier. So if the wind picks up, it's gonna take it down. So definitely my fault. We were in mid-shoot when out of nowhere, a gust of wind came barreling down the alley. You know where this is going. Down goes the light, right onto the cement, literally smashed. It couldn't have went on the modifier that would have helped, and probably nothing would have broke. But no, it went the opposite direction and went right down on the actual 8200. And before I could even react, the mom literally burst into tears. She was like, "I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh, this is my fault." So then suddenly I'm consoling her because I didn't want her to feel like it was her fault. It was the wind. It was the wind's fault. Even though I was the one that was going to have to go buy a whole new light, but it happens. And when you're taking lighting on location, you're taking a risk. Usually we'll have someone holding it a lot of the times. But it didn't seem like it was going to be very windy. And well, I was wrong. And I have learned that just have someone just stand there, put their hand on it. They don't have to be holding it down. Just hold it. So, I laughed through it because, honestly, what else can you do? And in the inside, I was thinking, well, there goes, a few $100. Lesson: always weigh your stands or just have a human sandbag nearby. Okay, guys, here is your creative challenge for the week. And I'm making it super easy for you. I want you to pick one subject or person who feels safe and fun to work with. This could be your kid, your friend, your neighbor, anyone you adore. Try one new thing. This could be a lighting technique, a funky lens, an editing style, a wacky pose. There's no pressure, no perfection, no posting required. Just play. If you need a script for asking someone to help, here it is. Hey, I'm playing with some creative photo ideas. No pressure, no expectations, just for fun. Want to help me experiment? And if you do this challenge, you better DM me or tag me. Thank you again for hanging out with me today, friend. Remember this: a creative dry spell doesn't mean you're broken or done. It just means your creative self needs space, play, and rest. Trust yourself. Give yourself permission to create just for you. You're a brilliant artist, even on your off days. I'll be back soon with more behind-the-scenes stories, biz tips, and plenty of those laughs. Until then, let's shut her up and shine, friends.